And in this video, I'm going to show you more of the basic syntax of Python. And we're going to do this in 3 steps. We're going to work with some numbers, we're going to work with some strings, and we're going to work with some lists. Let's go in and take a look. So we're back in our IPython, and what it is let's first try to use Python as a calculator to introduce gently how Python works. You must have tried this in something like Excel or when you're trying to pass a quick equation through Google. We can, as we've shown before, type some numbers and it will just give us the number back. We can use the standard things. We can add 2 numbers. We can subtract numbers. We can multiply numbers, and to do that we need to use the asterisk like in Excel, and we can divide numbers. Notice that when we are subtracting number or adding numbers together or multiplying numbers, there's no decimal place involved, and in programming speak that's called an integer or a round number, whereas when we use the division operator we actually produce a number that has a decimal place. That is a decimal place number, or more technically you can call it a float. And so this is one of the things about Python where there are different types of data that you can pass around in Python, and sometimes operating on 2 types of data results in a new type of data, right? So here we are operating in 100, we haven't supplied decimal place there, and we operate on 2, again no decimal place. They're integers, they're round numbers. But then dividing one with another, gives us a floating point number with a decimal place. So this is what we need to pay attention to, and eventually you would understand why this matters. But now all you need to think of is there are different types of data. In fact, they're called data types, and operating on units of data may change the type. Like here, when we are operating on 2 round numbers, integers, we have changed it to a floating point number. We can also put a number to its power, so we can do 3 to the power of 2 gives us 9. So that's Python numbers. We can give it strings. So we have already seen hello world. In fact, because we are using an REPL, we can issue a string, and because it doesn't know what to do with just raw data, it would then print it back out, so it has the same effect as if we used print hello world. You can add strings together and it will simply concatenate or merge the strings together. You can put a new line between them. You can say that instead. So we can do 3. So we have multiplied phrase Nana by 3 times, and then we have followed it up by Batman. The last feature of strings, and this might be a little bit new to those of you who hasn't done any programming before, but we can actually extract the character up to the position of the string. So what we can do here is we can say apple, and then we can use the square brackets to denote a position. I'm going to give it a position where the first position is actually 0. So we do 0, we'll get the character A. So what this means is for the string apple, I want to find the first position character, and that character is A. So in computer science, all series begins with 0 instead of 1, so the first position is 0 instead of 1. And I know that is very counterintuitive, but I hope you get used to it fairly quickly, and eventually it will all make sense from there. So similarly, we can do apple 1 and get P, apple 2 is obviously P again, 3, and then 4. And then if you go apple 5, it will actually give you an error. It says index error, string index out of range. What this means is, in technical terms, this position argument is an index. So it's like indexing something, right? Or you have index cards, or you're indexing an archive. If you index the word apple, you can retrieve it by the index position, but then because apple is only 5 characters long, there's nothing at the 6th position, and so you get an index out of range error. The last thing I want to talk about is lists. So lists allow you to have a collection of things. So the way we declare a list is we use the square brackets, and then we can do 1, 2, 3. So this is a list of 3 integers, otherwise known as whole numbers, and the integers are 1, 2, and 3. So the main purpose of having lists in Python is when we have a collection of stuff that we want to just combine and put into the same variable or namespace, or just store as a piece of data that's stored together. We can use a list. We can nest lists, and a list can contain other lists, and so on and so forth. And we've just learned about working with numbers and strings and lists, and I hope that this gives you a very gentle introduction to what Python sort of looks like. I know it's a lot to take in, but hopefully eventually, as we go along this course, I can give you enough information that you become a good standalone Python programmer.